areas and urban areas is something that we really also really take serious. Sometimes when we are talking about urbanization, we look almost at the people living in rural areas. But Honorable, if you look at the settlements, the number of communities, we have more rural communities than we have urban communities. So the emphasis shouldn't always necessarily about the people living in urban areas, but we can also look at the number of the settlement. How many, what proportion of the total settlements in Ghana are rural, and not necessarily how many people are living in rural areas versus urban areas. So that is, I think, one entry point that we can always use to, advance the cause of the rural development. And something that I really wanted to also highlight. The challenges are many, but as the director said, when it comes to evidence generation, we are there with, when it comes to training and technical capacity development, like my director and also the Prof. Marco said, there's a way we can all collaborate and then work together. You know, the secondary city program, for example, tries to put some incentives and demand-driven way of working. That is an approach that we can really think about in terms of what works and what doesn't work in other areas that we can collaboratively all work and then fashion out to really promote the rural development agenda. Thank you.
Well, I think we want to look for some leverage to provoke or stimulate more discussion so that we can get more from the experts. Because at the end of the day, there's this interesting trace of more rural areas than urban areas, which is confronting the issue of Ghana now is 56% population in urban areas. But, as I said, to provoke this, you may have more rural areas than urban areas. Are we just talking about the areas, or you're talking about the human beings living in those areas? And what are we going to spend the money on? The area or the human beings living in those areas? And should that be the direction of allocation of resources for development, or we are just interested in areas instead of humans? And on the latter side, on the latter side, I've been general secretary of my party before. We have a list of populated constituencies there. Let nobody deceive himself that we don't look at. Dr. Cabrera, 176,000. Ashama, 170,000. Here. That's where human beings are now. So if you are selling the resources that belong to all of us, do you sell it as against where people are more populated or less populated? I'm not saying we should ignore rural areas, but I'm saying that I'm very much, it hits me when you're talking about more rural areas than urban. I agree, it might be true. But practically, when you are planning or you are allocating resources, what should be the main factor?
The issue is about humans, isn't it? That's all our discussion.
I also want to make something provoke more.
So I will take Deputy Minister, because then we'll go to
Thank you, Prof. I'm listening to what the Minister said.
Yes.
If we were to use this to rationalize the establishment of the fund, which is debt on arrival, does it mean that all along what we've done with air, meaning that population is not important? Let's look at the number of human settlements. You can count them, but how significant are they? Look at Upper West region, for example. So many settlements. How many people live there? Should we use that as a criterion to allocate national resources? No. And if we're going by that argument, then we need to also establish an urban development plan. And we can call that. So let's be modest in nuance, the sweet modest. Rationalize things the more.
Mr. Chairman, let me just one minute. I'm not a fan of it. Please,
thank you so much. I've listened to all the contributions. I think there are some things that we need to agree on. First, do we agree on what we see as rural? We agree on what we term rural communities. One. Then two, have we looked at the interventions in such areas vis-a-vis the whole national kit? Are we then in a position to say that this is what is going to the so-called rural communities? This is what we need. This is what we need to do to fast track or accelerate development in these rural communities. Otherwise, we're going round. Every study that you look at, it looks at this model. It looks at the model to say that if we have agreed that these are rural communities, what do they mean? What have we set there? What do we need to set there for them to come to a certain level? For you to really eliminate some communities that they are no more part of the rural setup. But you have to look at others. As for the fund and other things, there are several sources that we can put. The most critical thing is what are we sending to these so-called rural communities? And what does the government need to do to increase such intervention for us to see that we are making progress? And that by a certain point, if we continue this way, we will have probably reduced the percentage to a certain level. And then we still know that there is more work to do. And then we maybe have to look at the focus. If I achieve this, we have achieved this. But we can still say that it's rural, so let's look at these aspects. And that will make us make some progress. Otherwise, we're going round. So it's a study for bed. It's a report that you can give, and then you see that, yes, this is how far we're going. Even for the National Rural Development Policy, we have these objectives and goals. How far have we achieved them? Then really in government, if government sends money, but when it comes to intervention, from all sources, sometimes you will say that the common fund is not enough, but government itself would have directly intervened by doing a road which is not from common fund, by providing electricity which is not from common fund, by deciding on ICT, water, etc. So, from point zero, where have we reached and how can we move on?
Yes. Prof, thank you so much. Mine also has to do with what my senior did. Indeed, I listened with rapt attention when the director of BED was doing the presentation, and I was amazed about the level of advocacy that BED over the years been able to do. And the key about that advocacy has to do with how we are able as a ministry to fatten out a policy, a rural development policy that will shape in the way we implement our own programs to be able to address the critical aspect of the rural areas. And I am also happy to also hear that in your own wisdom you chose two districts to work to address some of the challenges affecting the rural communities. In the presentation, I was waiting to hear something in terms of how the policy, the rural development policy, which you so advocated, how we were able to implement it, at least within the two districts that you chose. And what has been the impact? What has been the significant in terms of your research, in terms of even your training the resource, the human resource that you put there, you train and all that. So going forward, what has been that impact? And then how is it that the next policy that we are going to, based on your interests and your choice of field works and all that, what has been the impact? What is it that we need to do going forward to address the challenges which you so much yearn to have it in policy? I was just itching to hear that, because if you really want to concentrate all your efforts on funding, you might get the target wrong, because rural development is multifaceted. It's multifaceted. It goes beyond even local government and maybe states house, as the honorable minister said. So I have a lot here, but I think that we want to hear more from you, academia, BED, integrated rural development, what you so agitated for, and you have also sampled out some interest to see, and then we have the policy. What has been the status, the impact of all that? As an academic research institution, I didn't hear about that. So, Prof, as an academic, when we come here, these are some of the critical things as politicians, as policy, we are not waiting to hear. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. See how beneficial this meeting has been. It has really touched on certain areas, maybe even as an institution we are overlooking. And I don't know whether some of these policies that we are on intervention that we even like alluded, whether we are using the policy in our implementation. Are we using the policy, or we are also doing something different? And we may miss the targets, because the whole nation has a certain policy to achieve a certain purpose, a certain goal, and we haven't even looked at it. We are also using our own interventions, which may not match